Trump issues orders to promote school choice, end anti-American teaching. President Donald Trump on Wednesday signed executive orders to promote parental choice in school selection and end federal funding for curricula that he called the indoctrination of students in anti-American ideologies on race and gender. The two directives, which come a week after Trump was sworn into his second term of office, are in keeping with his campaign promise to remake the country's education system in line with the rigorous conservative agenda that Democrats say could undermine public schools. The first order directs the Department of Education to issue guidance on how states can use federal education funds to support choice initiatives without providing further details. It is the policy of my administration to support parents in choosing directing the upbringing and education of their children, the president said in the order. Too many children do not thrive in their assigned government-run K through 12 school.
So what's basically going to happen is they're going to try to give most of that school funding. They're going to take it away from the major schools and try to give it to private schools. Absolutely. And so the other schools, the public schools, are going to lose funding. I mean, this is the whole thing. They've been wanting to give them to charter schools for a while. You know what I'm saying? So if your kid, I mean, there's black women in jail right now because they tried to do this for their children and give them a good education and put them in the school. I remember they gave that to the lady. Her daughter was 8, and they gave her 12 years.
For it. Got 5 years or something like that. It was,
they made it to the point where you come on now. And I mean, like, you should have a choice of what school you want to go to, but also, I mean, like, even up here, you do. If you work, say you live in the town next to ours, and you work in our town, and the school's right there, the school will make that exception for you, like, hey, because they don't want you to have to travel like that. They actually care. But in this way, it's just going to hurt funding for underprivileged schools, and not just the black ones. You know what I'm saying? Like all the schools. I mean, because black schools are already underfunded anyways.
Says his second directive aims to stop schools from using federal funds for curriculum, teacher certification, and other purposes related to gender ideology or discriminatory equity ideology.
I agree.
In recent years, however, parents have witnessed school indoctrinate their children in radical anti-American ideologies with deliberately blocking parental oversight, it reads. Trump and his allies throughout the campaign have accused public schools of teaching white children to be ashamed of themselves and their ancestors due to the country's history of slavery and discrimination against people of color. So basically,
like, you can't don't be ashamed of the racism your ancestors did. Be proud of the racism you could do now.
What they also don't want to talk about, they don't want to talk about our history. They want to lie. And so it was fine for them when they were trying to make us feel ashamed about our past, our history, and who we were. But it's not about making a person feel ashamed anymore. Now it's about telling the truth. They told us Christopher Columbus discovered America. I mean, it wasn't true. We come to find out that's not true. We come to find out that Africa was more than just basically like a jungle or
mud huts and had naked people running around. Yeah,
we were more than people here in this country. Blacks in this country were more than just slaves. We come to find out a lot of things that are just not true, and they've had to change and fix them. But now it's called critical race theory. Instead of being called history, it should just be called history.
Well, critical race theory is actually what they teach in college. It's a law. It's something that has to do with getting a law degree. So it has nothing. They don't teach that in elementary school. They don't teach it in high school or junior high or middle school, whatever. They don't teach that at all. It's they just used it and ran with it. They're like, oh, it's critical race theory, but it's for lawyers. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is America doesn't want, like, when I remember being in school, being shocked when I found out, you know what I'm saying, like, my ancestors were slaves. And I didn't see no white kids embarrassed about that shit. They was like, ha, 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 ha. They was laughing about it. See, the whole thing is they don't feel shame. They just don't want people to know. So, I mean, you want to hide the history, and then you want to you wonder why people are racist today. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways.
It's just bigger than that.
I need open racism in America. I'm tired of this little pussyfooting shit.
I think that at the end of the day, it's bigger than just even the racism end of it. To me, it's like, it's more about education. Like, they don't want education in this country. They want education to be shut down. If you look at what JD Vance is talking about education, the education system's no good, blah, blah, blah. I mean, if it's just no good, then correct it without breaking it all the way apart. Because in reality, the people who voted for you are the uneducated. That's why you're happy to have people uneducated, because you know you can control them easy. You can tell them anything and they'll run with it. When you look online. I had a person go online who's a Trumper that I know. He put something online that everyone knows. I mean, anyone who has any kind of a thought process or can do any kind of research would know it's not true. But I looked at a bunch of people under his post act like it was true. It's pretty basic. And I said something about it. I was like, man, and the funny part about it is everyone's going to think that this is true. And he laughed about it, but the fact of the matter is he knew what he was doing. That's why disinformation campaigns work so easily in this country, because we don't have education. If they want to do something with the education system, fix it. That's why I look at it
Well,
as.
I'm also like this too. It's like, you'll see something on the news you don't like, and you'll just be like, you'll ignore it. But you see something that comes in with your values and you agree with, you're more inclined to talk about that. Like I was at the grocery store yesterday, and I'm reading the sign. They're like, yeah, because of the bird flu going around, eggs are in a shortage. And I told my son, and there's a guy standing next to me or whatever. I'm like, yeah, this is true. I was like, because if one chicken catches the bird flu, they got to kill the whole flock. So it's going to take time for them to build them back. And then some other guy walks up there. He's like, "Oh, this is all fake. This is, who's doing this. This is all gonna stop pretty soon." And I'm just like, "Bro, you live in fucking La La Land." Because he was told one thing and he wants to believe that. And me, I've been researching it, so I know how the bird flu is gonna affect the livestock. I've been saying it for a minute now.
We've
You know
been
what I'm saying?
talking
Because
about
it's
this.
switching to other animals. But things about switching.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And if he thinks it's going to stop, I want you to get to the next point. But if he thinks
Yeah.
it's going to stop, then what happened with COVID? Why didn't that stop? Why didn't nothing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real here.
I almost wanted to hit the dude with
dude
some
is
shit.
slow.
Like I've been saying, like, look, Donald Trump is in charge. He can punk everybody and anybody when he feels like it. If he wanted the price of eggs to go down, they would go
He
down.
could.
If he wanted the
Price of
price
eggs
of
are
gas
not
to go down, they
the
would go
price of
down.
eggs in other countries aren't high. So
If
why
you're-
don't we
yeah.
why don't we start instead of making everyone our enemy, let them be our friends and start importing more eggs if we need to.
A dozen eggs
Whatever the
was,
case may
was
be.
$10.93 at the Winco I was at.
Go ahead, Doc. I feel
You
you.
know, but also here we go.